I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to order. I am Melissa Meli, the spy.
I'm Tyler Riley, cop and a half.
And I'm nobody.
We've just completely revoked Tristan's nickname.
Yes.
And we're pending further review upon him as a person.
I was trying to do a whole thing where it was like related to the thing we're talking about today with nobody body.
Oh.
Also, Odyssey, I guess.
It would have been really great if I had gotten what you were trying to do.
Like my marijuana joke from like 2 episodes ago that nobody got.
Oh. Right. So, what are we doing today?
Oh, right. Yes, we are doing something today. We are bringing you something a little bit different today. Today, we will be reviewing the film Clue, based on the board game Clue.
And the novel Push by Sapphire.
Now, is that true?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so this came out actually December 13th, 1985. So about this time of year. Yeah.
A nice
Totally
family film.
did that on purpose.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely did. And it was, I guess, directed by somebody, but
I think it was directed by Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
or
Not
Jonathan.
Jesus Christ Superstar?
Oh, well, he was after it was a good movie. It was really took off.
Yeah. It was directed by Jonathan Lynn, who collaborated on the script with a guy named John Landis.
Oh yeah,
So,
it's a
yeah.
Landis picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But much more notable, I think, is the cast.
Yes.
Because it stars folks such as Tim Curry, Madeline Kahn, Christopher Lloyd, Michael McKean, and Leslie Ann Warren. There's a few other people in there as well, but that's who I remember. Yes.
That is fair. A lot of people talk about Madeline Kahn in this film and Tim Curry. Both brilliant.
Yes.
But Eileen Brennan.
Oh my goodness.
Mrs. Peacock?
Yeah.
So good.
A masterclass.
It's just comedic yelling.
Oh, yes.
His voice is so hoarse the whole
She's
movie.
she's brilliant.
So good.
I have a question, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I do want to know your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing a remake. Ryan Reynolds is in it.
Yeah.
Who else do you want to see in it?
Oh, had somebody and flitted out of my brain.
I think Kate McKinnon from Madeline
yes,
Kahn's
Kate McKinnon,
role
Mrs. White,
would
yeah.
be perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I think Adam Driver and Christopher Lloyd's role would be interesting as heck.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Gosh, who
I would
else?
like Angela Bassett as Miss Peacock.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yes.
Please.
Ooh, or Loretta Devine as Miss Peacock because she also does a great job of hysterically yelling.
Okay. All right. I like it. I like that. And yeah, we have Ryan Reynolds as Wadsworth, I believe.
assume so,
okay.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm not exactly
I would like
for it.
Meryl Streep as the cook.
That's
Sure.
perfect.
Perfect.
I was thinking Robert De Niro as Mr. Body.
Okay.
Just as kind of a bit.
Oh,
or
I like
Liam
that.
Neeson.
Yeah.
A la, what is it, Gangs of New York? He dies within the first, 15 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
It was
Jeez.
in the first 15 minutes.
What? No.
He's
Is
one
it?
scene. He's
Yeah.
one scene. He's in one scene. He gets
3
stabbed.
scenes, 2 scenes, 3 scenes, 2. Anyway, we'll get there.
Anyway.
But did you guys know who was originally supposed to play Miss Scarlet?
No.
Ooh.
Carrie Fisher.
Really?
Yeah.
Why didn't that happen?
Rehab.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That is unfortunate.
It
Because
is.
that would have been perfect.
Yes. Tyler has thoughts. He's thinking. I can see
I
it.
think it happened as it should have happened.
Okay.
I mean, I'm glad she got the help that she needed, Carrie,
Yeah.
at that time. But I don't know. I can't really. I can see her, but I think Leslie was.
She was very good.
Yeah.
The whole time, though, I was going, is that Susan Sarandon? The whole time. They look exactly the same.
Leslie Ann Warren does look quite a bit like Susan Sarandon. Yes.
Yeah.
I just thought that we would all enjoy that particularly. Tristan.
Is Leslie still with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Leslie Ann Warren also did a film version of the musical Cinderella, which is how I originally knew about her. Clearly.
The Roger Hammerstein?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Now, she's not the senator, right?
Right.
What?
She's not... Okay.
The madam.
No.
What?
Senator Warren? It's fine.
Oh.
But bum.
There's...
all in favor of disapproving of that joke?
I... There's too many political things going on in this movie. It was just too confusing. Sorry, Tristan.
It's quite alright.
So it was widely panned. People did not like this movie when it first came out. Roger Ebert, Gene Siskel, the New York Times all panned this film. And I don't think they got it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Can I say this, though?
Sure.
Siskel and Ebert have a weird track record for not liking films that are, like, publicly acclaimed, because this is, like, a cult classic.
Yeah.
But Ebert hated, like, Dead Poets Society. He gave it, like, a 2 out of 10. He despised that film. But that film has gone on to be, like, very, very well loved by the general public.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things that's really interesting about, like, reviewers and critics versus public opinion. And I guess we're seeing that with our current political climate.
Sure.
But people also like Transformers too.
That's
so...
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
who is right? What is the truth?
I know. And it's one of those things because on Rotten Tomatoes, I guess Clue has like a 59%, which is not great.
No.
But it's not terrible.
It's not terrible, but it's also, I mean, I really like this a lot. And I think it's one of those things that, do people understand what they're doing is what I'm at, like the tone of the film, because it's one of those things where I guess if you don't get what they're doing, then it's not, because it's very silly and farcical.
Yeah. It's basically a stage play.
And I've seen this film a number of times with a number of different people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the reaction I've gotten is also like a 59%, like a very mixed review of the people that I'm with. Like some people just don't like this brand.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of makes sense.
I guess I'm skewed.
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm skewed because everybody I like and hang out with, or at least 80% of the people I like and hang out with, are the kind of people that love Clue.
Yeah. I think it's a good litmus test. If you enjoy Clue and that kind of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say it's a very specific taste. It's almost like, almost vaudeville. It's like very showy.
Yes, that's true.
Like my parents don't particularly like this film, but they also were like going to movies when it first came out, so they were kind of like, oh, this terrible film. But they also feel the same way once again about Hook, which is beloved by most, at least people my age.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So like it's an interesting, I think it might have been like a generational thing.
Huh. Okay.
And then if you grew up watching Clue, because it was, at least for me, one of the first like racier comedies that I saw growing up.
Okay.
And I think it kind of has that built into it.
I wonder if my dad likes Clue or has seen it, actually. Because it's funny, because I get along really well with my dad. I have a really, really good relationship with my dad.
Okay, you're bragging.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, but we do not see eye to eye on a lot of pop culture things.
Really?
Or just, there's a lot of things I like that my dad doesn't necessarily like. That I'll try to show them. Like, I think they liked The Good Place when I showed it to them, but I don't think they've continued to watch it. And I'm like, what are you doing? This is the best show ever. Whereas they've watched like all of The Crown and Downton Abbey. And
Downton Aspire.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure I would enjoy it. It's one of those things. I'm sure I would enjoy it, but like, that is absolutely my dad's thing. And yes. Anyway. Also, just anecdotally, do you all know the actor Leonard Rossiter? Because I don't know him.
No.
The name sounds vaguely familiar.
He was apparently the first choice for Wadsworth, but he died before filming.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, and the second choice was Rowan Atkinson.
That is perfect.
Yeah, but he wasn't well known enough at that time.
Yeah, in the States, I would assume.
It's weird how that works. Like,
Yeah.
I know so many films where like there's like this great choice, but they're like, movies aren't really their thing, or they're not that well known right now.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's a shame.
It is a shame, but I do love Tim Curry a whole lot, and he's great in this, so I'm...
Oh, he's fantastic.
Oh, he's very good in it.
Okay with what we got.
I'm imagining Rowan Atkinson in it, and I am mad that it's not him.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Body. Like, that kind of thing would have been, oh, my gosh. I would love it so much. And
it would be very good.
Down.
Well, I mean, there's still the remake that has not...
Could
I don't know if that part has been cast yet. I don't know who Ryan Reynolds is supposed to be.
I think he's probably going to play
Wadsworth, probably.
Because he does tend to, like, putting him... If he's producing it as well, so...
Yeah, see, I enjoy Ryan Reynolds in a lot of situations. Like, I enjoy him as Deadpool very, very much. But there's certain things that's like, could you play Colonel Mustard instead? Could you give Wadsworth to someone else? Because he's good, but he's not, like, that level of... Wadsworth is just one of those, like, give it to a virtuoso, please.
Yes.
All right, listeners, put it on mute. Ryan, I'm speaking directly to you.
Oh boy.
I know he's a listener of this show.
Yes, listener of the show.
Ryan, baby, no. Okay, listeners, you can now rejoin us.
Okay, so shall we get into it? So, Clue, the movie. I love that in the intro we get based on the Parker Brothers board game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, all these movies that are based on board games, getting so sick of them.
Battleship.
This one.
Candy Crush.
Jumanji. Candy Crush?
I'm sure it's going to be a thing.
Oh, God. I mean, there is an Emoji Movie, so... And an Angry Birds... Oh, God.
There was an Angry Birds.
There was an Angry Birds film.
There really was. Let's take a moment to mourn the death of cinema.
That was good.
I
wrote Tim Curry is my everything for some reason. It could have been any number of reasons. This was, like, I think just in the opening sequence.
Yeah. I love him.
There's kind of a big opening sequence that is not, there's not a lot of dialogue going on.
Yeah.
It is a very big butt mansion. And
a butt mansion.
Okay.
I'm trying to be family friendly.
Right.
And we get a little, I stopped the movie and rewound to make sure I noted that we were in New England, 1954. Yes. Tim Curry is Wadsworth, the butler, and he's asking the cook and the maid, the maid's name is Yvette, if everything is all ready. Guests start arriving at the house, and everyone is using aliases as per a letter they got instructing them what their alias would be. We have Colonel Mustard, Professor Plum, Mrs. White, Miss Scarlet, Mr. Green, Mrs. Peacock, and everyone has been invited by a man named Mr. Buddy. Wadsworth remarks that Mrs. White and Yvette seem to know each other. So, okay, the house is apparently called Hill House. We hear someone talking about that in the beginning.
That's fun.
And I was like, oh no, do not go to that house. That is a terrible, terrible idea. Never go to Hill House. For everyone who has watched the show. Anyway, yes.
But I mean, if they're like, if I'm being invited to dinner and like someone's going to be cooking, I'm going to show up. I might have to risk it.
Yeah.
For that biscuit?
For dinner? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Risk it for the...
Risk it for the biscuit.
I feel like that brings on connotations.
Okay.
Is that negative connotations?
Let's move on.
Okay.
We're trying to keep it family friendly.
Okay.
I see where you're going.
Also, there's a Peril in the House on the Hill, which is a board game as well, which is kind of fun.
Ooh.
So maybe that's
is that also Parker Brothers?
It isn't. I do not believe it is, but I can Google it real quick before we get too in the podcast. Invested in what we're talking about. That works too.
Yeah.
There's a really good history of Clue done by Justin McElroy and Russ Frustrick from Polygon.com. If you want to go online and know more about Clue, or Cluedo as it was once called in England when it was originated. House.
Fun time. So while Tristan is Googling, I just want to say, I want a dinner gong.
Yes.
They beat the gong to symbolize that they're starting dinner instead of a dinner bell, ringing a dinner bell. And it's pretty great. And it's very alarming. And I enjoy it a lot. Yeah, dinner gong.
Agreed.
Good stuff. And along those lines, the doorbell is an actual bell. Like it rings.
Yeah.
It rings a little bell on the side, and you see that happen a lot because the doorbell rings a lot in this movie, many, many times. Fun stuff.
Yes.
So they all sit down to dinner, and they are sitting and having lots of awkward.
The soup sipping scene is so good.
Oh,
I love it.
Just sit there and sip soup and stare at each other.
Mrs. Peacock reminds me of the character from Orient Express that won't shut up about her daughter.
Oh,
yep.
In that scene, she's just like, okay, I'm going to talk. If someone's going to talk, we got to talk because otherwise it's going to be awkward. And I'm already talking for all of you now.
Yeah.
She's like, okay.
Yep. Yeah.
And during that were you about to cover this?
I don't know what you're going to say.
Ooh.
Go for it.
Because she's speaking so much, we learn then about Professor Plum's profession.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. We basically learned that everyone either lives in Washington or everyone works for the government in some way or is funded or, their livelihood is made by the government.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had a moment. Colonel Mustard should be played by Nick Offerman. Please continue.
Oh, yeah. That's very good.
Yeah.
So there's also a 7th empty seat, and Wadsworth said that it's for the 7th guest, Mr. Body. And everyone has gone into this thinking that Mr. Body was the host. Mm-hmm. So I wrote, and Wadsworth looks shifty.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So the doorbell rings again. Finally, Mr. Body is here. And he says, what are they all doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Wadsworth reveals the letter they've all been sent to get them to come to dinner. Like, basically what the letter says is, here's your alias. If you come to dinner, pretty much your problems will all go away. But Mr. Body did not get the same letter. He got a different letter.
Dear John.
John Body. Nice.
Teamwork.
So then after dinner, they go into the study. I wrote question mark, but it was the study for brandy and coffee. I haven't had brandy in a while. I feel like I have had brandy like once.
Huh. I haven't listened to Brandy in a while.
You should.
Mm-hmm.
Brandy, who has also played Cinderella in a television version of Rodgers and Hammerstein's musical.
The best
Cinderella.
version of that musical, in my opinion. Isn't Whoopi Goldberg also in that? She
Yes.
plays the Queen. And who's she married to in that?
I
She's
forget.
married to, no. Hold on. You were going to let me have this?
Uh-huh.
Victor Garber.
Oh, yes.
It's amazing.
It really is very good. I enjoyed it very much.
And Jason Alexander and Bernadette Peters, Natalie Desselle Reid, Diane Cox, Whitney Houston herself. R.I.P. baby girl.
And just to give it the trifecta, another person who has played Cinderella in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella is me. Yeah, but not in a televised version.
Not yet, Melissa.
Not yet. There's still time. Anyway, so Wadsworth opens a letter that says he's now supposed to tell everyone why they're here, unless Mr. Body wants to.
Ooh.
Mr. Body then becomes outraged and tries to leave, but all the windows and doors are locked.
Clank.
Still, no one actually has figured out who the host is. There's lots of confusion around this.
I love the Foley that's happening behind.
I know. It's like such a rich tapestry of sounds.
Classically trained actor.
Mm-hmm. I know. Our acting training being put to good use.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Wadsworth reveals they're all being blackmailed by an anonymous person. And they all eventually admit, yes, indeed, that they are being blackmailed. Who is it? One of them, is it Mrs. Peacock, who's like, I'm not being blackmailed. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Oh,
no, I'm not.
yes.
Oh, I guess, yes, I am.
Yes.
It's wonderful. It's a journey.
So good.
Yeah.
She's so good in this.
She's so good. Everyone does a really great job. All of the women in this
Spectacular.
are just next level.
Mm-hmm.
So Professor Plum works at the UN. He's a doctor who it sounds like, was getting on with his lady patients.
I believe the word they use is stupping.
Stupping?
Stupping.
Gotta love it.
I want to talk briefly about the thing you just said about all the women in this thing. Because I think what happened was this. They all were cast in roles that they were finally like allowed to be funny and big and good, which is so rare for women in movies specifically. And also plays to a certain extent. But
I disagree with that. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but this is post Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein and all the stuff that Madeline Kahn has done. But I think this was the first time that she was allowed to be subdued.
Sure.
Like, everyone was kind of playing it. All those women were playing against type, I guess, except Leslie Ann Warren, who is, I'm sure, she's still with us.
Yeah, she is,
a very lovely woman, and, like, kind of got kind of trapped in this, but, like, she was able to, like, kind of explore more.
Yeah, it is. It's really interesting, because Mrs. White does not start out being as like the standout of it, but then, you know, as the movie goes on, it's all Mrs. White all the time.
Yes, it is. And it also is interesting, like, she is in a very supporting role, which is not normally her bag, Madeline Kahn, but it is also like such an ensemble cast that, like, at no point can someone, with the exception of Tim Curry, who is conducting these people, like, there, at no point is there someone who's like the only focus of a scene, which is really, I think, really, really fun. But I also think it's just like it's so nice being able to see competent actors finally like get by the way, I can also do this. Which is really, really nice.
It's always a fun thing to do. Yeah, I love it when people are given the opportunity to play against type, because most actors can, and casting directors just got to get a little bit of imaginative about that kind of thing. Anyway, I would love to be in something like this.
Yes.
Oh my gosh,
goodness.
Did you do a reading of Clue?
I did Clue the Cabaret.
That's right. I saw you in it, Professor Plum.
Very good.
It was a great time.
There's a stage musical, and isn't there also a stage play based off of?
I believe there's both.
There's both.
I think so. It's very
But neither are like around the film. Like,
they're just based off of the board game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I didn't see it in my research.
Yeah.
But I've done Noises Off.
And very similar.
Yeah, which is very similar in tone to this, and it was just the most fun ever.
It's really funny that you mentioned that, because Christina the whole time was getting it confused for Noises Off, because she watched both of them as part of Tech Crew in high school. But they have a from what I've briefly read of Noises Off, they have very similar tone.
They do.
Like a lot of overlapping dialogue and weirdness.
Oh, yeah. It's the best. It's so much fun. And I did it in high school, and we actually, my high school, we did a pretty darn good job with the comedies that we did. Shout out to Eastchester High School and John Guardiak, who directed us in those comedies, and made me realize that I could be something other than an ingenue, which was really great. Anyway, but that's one of the things that was really nice about that, is that I got to finally do something other than, you know, sing about how much I wanted to be in love. It was cool. Because that was what I normally did, which was really great and fun. But yeah, comedy is also
comedy.
Real quick, if I may.
Yeah.
I also think this strikes in similar tone to a wonderful comedy that's playing on Broadway currently, The Play That Goes Wrong.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Get your tickets to closes real soon.
Oh no, I need to see it.
January 6th.
Oh no.
Oh, I'm not going to see that play.
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
The 6th.
Yikes.
Get your tickets on TDF if you remember.
Okay. So, all right. So now we're getting the story about who everybody is and why they're being blackmailed. So as I said, Professor Plum works at the UN. He's a doctor. He slept with some of his lady patients. Not cool.
No, it's really not cool.
Abusing his position.
Abusing a position, specifically with those who are mentally ill. Like, that's something like, are you
what if they were in love? I'm just going to throw that out
there. Could anyone be in love with Christopher Lloyd?
I could.
Really? What would be interesting is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a sequel to Clue, where the doctor gets put in the insane asylum.
Ooh. Okay.
All in favor.
Mrs. Peacock got money in... Here's what I wrote, guys.
Oh, but then Back to the Future is then another sequel to Cuckoo's Nest after he breaks out of the insane asylum.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Okay.
All
right.
Christopher Lloyd's films are all one series.
That's our next podcast, is how all the Christopher Lloyd films are related.
Mm-hmm. Starting with Angels in the Outfield.
Yes, he's an angel the whole time. Shh.
Okay.
I'll never tell.
Mrs. Peacock got money in sketchy ways for her politician husband. Did I get that kind of right?
Yes.
Great.
Well,
No.
wait, repeat that one more time.
Yeah, it's not a good sentence. Mrs. Peacock got money in sketchy ways for her politician husband? Ish.
It was more for her own gain. She was
Sure.
just, like, kind of using her husband.
Okay, all right. That makes sense.
Those good connections, that networking.
Okay, cool.
She added people on LinkedIn.
Miss Scarlet is a madam. She has a brothel. Colonel Mustard.
Oh, wait, real quick.
Yeah.
Miss Scarlet. I love how she is the only one that was just like, yeah, I'm being blackmailed, but I did what I'm being accused
Oh,
of.
heck
She was
yeah.
the only one that
Incredible.
just did not deny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's very much in popular culture a madam thing. It's like, no, I did it. What?
I've been doing this for so long.
It is the world's oldest profession.
With health benefits.
Yeah. Anyway, destigmatize sex workers. Yay. Okay. So Miss Scarlet is a madam, and Colonel Mustard has visited that brothel.
Nice.
Mrs. White probably killed her physicist husband and her illusionist husband.
But there's a beautiful line, which is
There's so
your
many.
second. You like talk about what about your first husband? Well, he disappeared. Yeah, he died mysteriously. What about your first husband? Well, he disappeared. Well, he was an illusionist. That was his job. It was just very good.
Yeah.
It's just very stupid. This movie is so dumb.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I love it. It's so stupid, and it's so silly, and it's beautiful.
It's so stupid and so smart at the same time. And Mr. Green works for the State Department, and he is a closeted gay man, which at the time was, I mean, sometimes still is, but at the time certainly was still a thing that people really didn't want.
But he was going to lose his position on security grounds. Like, that was, like, the thing that tripped me up.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was gay, he was going to lose his job for security reasons. And I was just like, what?
Oh, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, but most of the reasons why people wouldn't want to employ a gay person don't make any sense at all.
There's an interesting choice that I don't know if Christopher Lloyd made or if the director did, when Green says that he gets up and sits somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's an interesting, like, I mean, that makes sense because it's 1950 whatever, but like, it's also like, oh, that would just not fly, like I was saying earlier, like, if the movie came out. I think people would Twitter would be on fire about
Twitter
that.
would be Twitter-pated. I'm sorry. I don't know. Sometimes I say things when I should just think them.
No, that was fun. That was very fun, Melissa. But
not, I mean, wrong, but, like, not wrong. Like,
yeah,
that would be a reaction that very well would happen today.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But again, as we discussed pre-recording?
Yes.
It all blends together. Was it on the podcast? Was it not on the podcast?
I'm never not doing a podcast.
That's the secret. Tristan is recording us all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's for my podcast, Big Brother. Yeah.
Like with racism, like in the books that we talk about, and kind of the sexism and womanizing in this film.
Yeah.
Like, as long as there's some kind of comeuppance on those characters.
Yeah.
So
like, it's kind of hard to. I mean, it's easier to forgive if they're like the film or the piece of work.
Yeah.
If there's a comeuppance by the character that's doing the bigoted thing.
Right.
And in this case, we don't get that.
I mean, Professor Plum is certainly not cast in a positive light.
No, right. But there are other instances in the film where, like, we're reminded about the homosexuality of Mr. Green, where, like, the other guys also... The homosexuality is the thing in this film that is, I don't know, they're the most complacent about it being a bad thing. Mm-hmm. If y'all get what I'm saying, like, or is homosexuality just
a red herring?
I was upset that I didn't know what you guys were gonna say. I was not in on that one.
I don't know. Tyler and I are firing on all cylinders today.
This is a different podcast today.
You're in a different podcast. Oh, it's okay. You can come in. Tristan looks like a little puppy that we left out on the other side of the door. Oh, good. I'm so glad we're doing that.
A lot of Foley work.
There's more.
Chris Foley, if you will.
There's more and more Foley work as this podcast continues. Nope. The more we get into it, the more Foley work.
Foley reference just for my sake.
Oh boy. Yeah. So that's the thing in this movie. People are just the most like, oh yeah, being gay is weird kind of stuff is happening, and that's. Yeah.
And I think it's also kind of indicative of the circumstance in which the characters find themselves. Like, there's been a murder. We can't really talk about, like, homosexuality as the concept of being a sin when we might be implemented in murder.
Yeah, but...
And then also, like, it's one of those things of, like, no one's here as a good person, I think, is one of the things.
That's true. That is also true.
And, like, that's the thing of, like, Professor Plum is a big old pervert.
Yeah.
He's a big old nasty pervert.
Yeah.
And also it would make sense as so... It also makes sense that someone who is so sexually driven specifically towards women, because he like grabs Miss Scarlet's butt at the beginning of the movie.
Right at the beginning of the movie.
Would be uncomfortable with the concept of homosexuality.
Yeah.
So it seems consistent with character, but it is also like I'm constantly curious about like how older films would play now, because like the climate's so interesting and different.
Yeah, it was Mel Brooks who was talking about like how he would not want to write for today. I mean, Blazing Saddles, if you can't remake that.
No.
Like, you can't even attempt. Like, it just would not be the same. Things would not land. People would be too up in arms instead of like really truly listening in this day and age, I feel.
Sure. But the thing is, we get different things today now. It's not the same. And so we're getting different kinds of comedy and different approaches to comedy. And I don't think that's a bad thing either.
No, I don't think so. I'm just...
Yeah. No, it is. It's an interesting phenomenon that we find ourselves in.
Anyways, I just find it sad that we might lose things of the past.
Sure.
Like Blazing Saddles, like...
It's a very
could we even watch that 20 years from now? Like, what is the climate going to be? Like, would that be banned somewhere, much like, or come with like a disclaimer, much like Cabin in the Sky, which in the grand scheme of things was not that bad a film in terms of stereotypes.
Unfortunately, I can't help you on this one. I don't know.
Haven't seen it.
I don't know that one.
Oh, okay. I think it was, I forget the production house, but they do this big disclaimer about it's an all-black film musical. Pre-Jim Crow. Like, it's...
okay.
And, like, there are a lot of stereotypical elements thrown in there, so now there's, like, this giant disclaimer that, like, I don't think is really necessary for viewing.
Sure.
Because if you put the context of the film in the time period.
Yeah. And I think that when we're watching older films and reading older books, that's what we really just have to do is just read it through the lens of this was a different time period, and like still understanding, this is not a great thing to, it's not a great approach, like let's not do this now, but still there's value to a lot of the media that happened then.
Yeah, and specifically bringing up Blazing Saddles is like it's a satire, and also like not inaccurate towards how people would have behaved in the Old West.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why it's so good as a parody, because we have all these Westerns that are romanticizing this idea, and then it's like, oh, by the way, these all were idiot, morons.
Yeah.
You know, and then a very similar thing with the producers. I don't think it's amazing that they got that remake in right before. Like, that would not fly now at all.
Yeah.
And there's this really interesting video essay, a lot of YouTube plugging that I'm doing in this episode by Lindsay Ellis about the responsibility that satirists have and, like, how to balance that. Because it is, like, if you do it too sincerely, people are going to get confused, and that's why I think, like, South Park is often unsuccessful, because there's that whole generation that grew up watching South Park that are like, this is a funny thing to say by virtue of saying it, not because of the thought that went into it.
Sure.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Long tangent.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. No one's died yet.
Oh, gosh. Because of the tangent or in the film?
In the film.
Oh, I see.
Well. So after we learn why everyone's being blackmailed, we learn that Wadsworth reveals that Mr. Body is the blackmailer and that the police have been called and are on their way so that everyone who's being blackmailed can reveal that they're being blackmailed to the police and Mr. Body will be arrested.
There's a weird leap in logic with that.
Yeah.
Like, why not wait for the police to show up to tell everybody what's happening?
Leaping logic, Tristan Miller.
Oh, boy. Unfortunately, you cannot see the face that Tristan is making. It is a resigned and yet somewhat contented face. Yes. So Mr. Body gives everybody boxes.
Yes.
With a little bow on them.
It's
Very
close
cute.
to the holidays.
Yeah.
It is close to the holidays. You are right.
I mean, is it in the film?
It's raining.
Yeah. Why not?
Sure,
Little
okay.
bit.
All right, let's go there. And they're not decorated at all. I just have to
Well,
say.
it's House Hill's atheist household. So
Yeah.
I don't believe in Christmas.
Oh, or they could be Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I remember Michael Jackson could not have a birthday party for his mother, so everyone had to come with packages wrapped in brown paper for this gathering of just a random day of the year.
Sure, okay.
Is Mr. Body a Jehovah's Witness, or is Wadsworth? Who's decorating the house? Who's in charge?
And
You bet.
by the way,
There it is.
yes,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. I just want to clarify that my disgusted sigh was not for atheism. It is for the idea of not decorating
For any reason.
for any reason.
Be filled with the holiday spirit.
Yes.
Do
Whatever
it.
you choose to celebrate.
However,
Yeah,
whatever religion or non-religion you subscribe to, you do you, but like put up those twinkly lights, please.
They're pretty.
Yes. And they help us not feel depressed in the winter. That's what.
They really do.
Yeah. That's why January is so hard. Okay. So.
What do you mean? We have Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Do we put up lights for it?
You could.
I mean, I'm into it. Let's do that.
They have service at decorating your own home.
Okay. Great. There's so many twists and turns in this episode.
It's gonna be
Much like this.
Yeah, it's gonna be a nightmare for me to edit. We're 45 minutes in, and it's only
No one's died yet.
No one's
Well,
died
someone's about to.
What?
Someone's about to have an experience.
Of losing their life. Okay.
Should I just jump in with the first?
Wait, what about she?
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. He gives everybody boxes that
Yes.
contain different weapons: a candlestick, a rope, a knife, a gun, a wrench, and a lead pipe.
Oh my! Those are the weapons from the game.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure.
I'm a very good actor. You guys.
Great. Okay. He encourages someone to kill Wadsworth so they can get out, lest it be revealed.
Which is a buck wild thing to do.
I know.
I'm giving you a weapon. By the way, not fair, because one of the weapons is a gun. The other one's a candlestick. It's like one of you should kill him. Maybe just shoot him yourself with the gun that you had.
But he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to get his hands dirty. You know how those blackmailers are.
Yeesh.
I don't know.
I would prefer to use, like, say I'm going to murder someone.
Okay.
Let's say.
Oh, boy.
Just for instance.
Can it be me?
Sure.
Good.
I don't even know how to process what just happened. Because that became... The look Tristan gave Tyler was almost sexual.
It was meant to be.
Okay.
Yes.
That's how we promised each other how we would go.
All right. Cool. Go on, Tyler.
Sexual fight to the death.
How are you?
Sexual death match.
Clothes off. Death happening. Sunday.
Okay, Tyler. If you were going to murder Tristan.
Clothes would be off one.
Oh gosh.
And then I would use a candlestick because that is, I think, the most viable thing.
Yeah. Because what if you miss with the gun?
What if you miss with the gun? Also, I think a candlestick death is more easily explained. Like, there are so many accidents that could happen surrounding a candlestick.
Sure.
More so than a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no. It takes a very specific motion to kill someone with a candlestick, whereas you could just be showing someone a pistol and it goes off and they're dead. Like Dick Cheney. They're not dead. These lawyers didn't die. But
right. And the guy apologized to Dick Cheney for being in his line of sight.
Yeah. Accidents happen, Tyler.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but
candlestick.
I feel as
so now I know
a black man in America. The police show up. I have a gun. It's not going well.
That's true.
I have a candlestick, preferably on the ground, and my hands are just up. At this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It might go better.
Okay. So.
It's my time for my bit.
Yeah? He turns out the lights, and in the dark, the gun goes off, and then the lights come back on, and now Tyler talks.
Tyler time.
Tyler time.
He's dead.
Who?
Mr. Body is on the ground, and not Wadsworth.
Not Wadsworth.
Not
No.
Wadsworth.
No.
Mr. Body is just a body on the ground.
Well, who did it?
The thing is, we don't know.
Oh, shoot.
He was shot, but who had the gun?
Who?
Was it? I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Was he shot or was he not shot? Like the gun went off in the dark, but he wasn't shot?
I'm getting there.
Yeah, it's revealed later in the film, Melissa.
I'm sorry. I thought that was immediate.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all
but
good.
Christopher Lloyd's character
goes,
he's dead, right?
Christopher Lloyd, the doctor.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Professor
though he's
Plum.
just a psychologist or whatever. Goes to, check out.
It's like a Michael Jordan, oh yeah, I'm going to play baseball now.
Right.
Well, I mean, a psychiatrist still has to go to medical school.
I mean, yeah.
I feel like you should be able to.
Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that true, Melissa?
It's 100% true.
The thing is, so he goes to examine the body. And he's like, he's dead. And then...
He's dead, Jim.
He's dead. Everyone freaks out.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone's trying to figure out who had the gun to begin with. And, who shot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Mr. Green that had the gun. And he said that someone tried to grab the gun from his hand during the blackout.
Mm-hmm. It went off. And it broke a vase.
Yes. It broke a vase on the wall. They then go to examine it, and they're like, oh, there is a bullet hole in the wall.
Yes. And
everyone's like, well, how did he die? Meanwhile, Miss Peacock is startled and kerfluffed, as one might say.
Because,
grabs a glass of brandy, begins to drink it, to which Professor Plum, or is it Mr. Green?
I can't recall.
Someone
says.
One of the gentlemen says, what, maybe he was poisoned. To which Miss Peacock begins freaking the blankety blank out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
To when we have Mr. Green slapping the out of her.
Yes.
Which is
to calm her down.
Which is unfortunately very funny.
It is really.
Okay. Yes, it is. And it's one of those things where it like slapping someone to have them wake up is a funny thing if we can take it out of the context of a man hitting a woman across the face.
Yes.
Right. It was almost, though, like, like when there are some, certainly not implying that all homosexuals do this.
Okay.
But
Interested to see where this sentence is going, Tyler.
But I know there are some guys who will just like grab girls by the boobs and like
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
an
yeah.
accepted
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
because they are a homosexual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
That's a
almost
weird
kind of
thing.
like the slap thing was like one of those kinds of things.
I
Like
see what you're
it's
saying.
fine because he's gay and
Right,
not
right.
a real quote unquote man.
And it's
I'm
also-
doing air quotes
Yes.
with my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like, there's a moment of him. He's like, I had to stop her screaming somehow, and so there is a moment of everyone's like, hey, you just hit an old woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mr. Green's like, oh, I just didn't think about it. Oh gosh. But it also is like, I was thinking about this earlier as well. In the context of comedy, like, falling down is very funny.
Yeah.
Grown men running, very funny as well. But if those things happen in real life, they are not funny at all. It is very scary to see a grown man just running somewhere because you're like, where's the bomb?
I saw a man running down the sidewalk last night, and it was dark outside, and I was terrified. And then I was like, oh, he was running for exercise. And so I calmed down. But
I've run to catch a bus, and someone's been in front of me, and they have jumped like 2 feet in the ground, and I have had to shout as I pass, sorry, I'm trying to catch the bus.
Sure, yeah.
Because,
That doesn't scare me. Like if I saw Tom Cruise running at me, I'd be like, oh God.
Oh, Scientologist.
He's going to murder me.
To jump on the couch about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes. I think grown man running is funny in like real life context.
Okay.
Depending on the grown man
If
who's
you can
running.
tell they're gonna poop their pants, it's very funny.
Yeah.
Sure.
If it's
Yeah.
as long as you're not near the end of it.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Oh God.
Okay.
What happens next?
What does happen next?
Gun went off. He slapped.
Oh,
Mrs.
slaps
Peacock.
Peacock.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like a euphemism. That's all.
Yep.
We like to have
Like
fun
if someone
here.
was slapping NBC.
Yeah.
So after that,
Did you see ABC absolutely slapping that Peacock?
right?
Okay.
Good place.
There we go.
That is a free ratings headline for the applicable time. Entertainment news. Okay, so she stopped screaming.
Thank gosh. For now.
But we hear screaming from another room. It's Yvette. They all run out of the study, trying to get into the billiard room where Yvette is. She finally opens the
Oh my gosh.
door.
We're not going to do this the whole time, are we?
I'm sorry.
And Yvette is like freaking out because she has been left or trapped inside with the murderer. Everyone's like, who's the murderer? And she's like, we're staring at him or her.
Yeah.
Because she knows through listening from the other room
Yeah.
that the brandy could have been poisoned. And she had some of the brandy.
Right.
So rightfully so,
Very
she
freaked
is.
out.
Yeah.
She's very freaked out. Can I just add
Mm-hmm.
that everyone running in this is so great because they all run as a group at the same time every single time.
Like lemmings. It's amazing.
It's like
Yeah.
an episode of Love Island.
I believe you.
Let's say yes.
And there's also music. There's like running music that
Yes.
happens every time. It's delightful.
It's very Benny Hill. It's
Yep.
very good.
So they then decide to bring her into the search party to kind of figure out what in the world is going on. And then next we go to the kitchen?
I think
right?
so. Yeah, I can't remember why.
Oh, wait, not yet.
Not yet?
No?
Yeah, not quite
yet.
yet. So Wadsworth then reveals that he was the one that invited everybody.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And that he used to be Mr. Body's butler, but Body was also blackmailing Wadsworth's wife, which is very hard to say, because she had socialist friends.
Which is, can I say, Tim Curry's delivery of that line, he's teary-eyed. He's like, we are socialists, and it's so good.
It's
He's
really
crying.
very good.
It's amazing.
And that's, I think we get one of our red herring.
Yeah, and everyone
Jokes
is very
there.
sympathetic.
Yeah. And she killed herself because
Very
of this.
sad.
Yeah. So Wadsworth says Body was blackmailing everybody because he believed that they were all thoroughly un-American.
Yes. Okay,
So
so...
we're in the kitchen.
We go to the kitchen for some reason because they feel like they need to go check on the cook for some reason. I forget why.
Right. The body is missing at this point, or it's not. But we're in the kitchen regardless.
Yes.
Looking around, they're
Anybody's
poking
game.
around. It's anybody's game. Mr. Green opens the freezer.
Yeah, that's like
and
a big
the
meat
cook
locker.
falls out, and he is asking for help. And all the guys just like, nope, I'm not getting behind that. That's gay.
Yeah.
That's the
Did not
internal-
read the subtext into that. The no
No.
one helping him. I just thought they
Yeah.
were all dicks. But that's okay.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
sucks.
Yep. The cook has been stabbed in the back. She's dead.
Emotionally and physically.
Ah,
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
A
Wow.
2 per day.
Goodness.
Mm.
I wrote down at this point 2 of Madeline Kahn's lines, one of which is, husbands should be like Kleenex, soft, strong, and disposable.
Perfect. Iconic.
She delivers it so beautifully. And then, life after death is as improbable as sex after marriage.
Also fun.
Also,
I love that.
Leslie Ann Warren has her moment in this scene with a line. The cook is dead, and she goes, I didn't think dinner was that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the person responds, how can you make jokes at a time like this? And she's kind of like, it's a comedy.
Yeah. This is my coping mechanism, she
Yeah.
says.
Yes.
Yes, and then they have Mr. Body's body is gone.
Mr. Body's body is gone.
Oh, okay, so the body was not missing, but it is now missing.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
it is
right
now
after
gone.
they go
So
back to
they
the study
brought
and they can't
the
find it.
cook into the study.
Right, because they were trying to bring the body in and they all stop at the doorway because the body is gone.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And then drop the poor cook.
So much of this movie is physical comedy,
Yeah.
and you should just watch it for all of that. Anyway,
You can find it either illegally or legally. It's pretty easy.
you can find it both ways. I
At the same time.
Yeah. I've rented mine off iTunes.
I had a DVD.
Uh-huh.
I do not want to tell you where I got my copy.
Yep, okay.
I had to find a bum.
Oh, no. That's terrible.
Aren't you? Allegedly, Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Okay,
So we're back. We're Sister Act 2 back in the habit. And the body is gone.
Body is gone.
Not the cook's, but Mr. Body's body.
Mr. Body's body is gone.
Yes.
It is then where we discuss. Colonel Mustard freaks out about, is there anybody else in the house after they do another round of accusing each other?
They do, but they find the body first.
Who finds the Oh, I remember.
Oh,
Mrs.
the bathroom.
Yeah.
Miss Peacock has to
Powder.
tittle.
Sure.
Okay, or
Well, that's what she says.
oh yeah, yeah.
There was something.
There was a
There's
bit there.
yeah. There's some sort of joke there. It's very funny. You should watch the film.
Yeah. A funny thing happens on the way to the bathroom.
Exactly.
But it's just an amazing sequence where Mrs. Peacock is just yelling.
Oh,
Yes.
for like a minute straight. It's
Yeah.
So, it's so funny.
Like all the way down the hallway.
Because I will also say, like, that screaming is also another thing that in real life, not funny at all. Not funny. Do something about it. But in a comedy, oh my gosh, so funny.
Yeah. But because Mr. Body's body is like kind of hugging her almost.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cheek to cheek, yeah.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has new injuries now.
On the head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He got nabbed nabbed in the noggin.
Yeah.
Knocked on the noggin? Knock, who's there? Nabbed on the noggin's fun.
There you go.
Nab.
I meant to say napped on the noggin. Like
napped. Oh, yeah.
And this is where I think they bring all the bodies into the study.
Yes. So.
And they lock the weapons in the cupboard.
Well, just the two bodies.
Yeah.
At this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I said all. All two of them.
All two of the bodies are in the study.
Yes.
And they have the idea to lock all of the weapons away in a cabinet.
Yes.
And Wadsworth decides, I'm going to hold on to this key. And they're like, you're going to hold on to the key? And he's like, I'm going to hold on to this key.
Yeah.
And they're like, you are going to hold on to this key?
Yeah.
He's
pretty
like,
much like that. That's pretty much what happens.
He's like, yeah, like, what if one of you is the murderer? And they're like, what if you're the murderer? And he's like, I'm not the murderer, but what if you were the murderer? He's like, fine, we'll get rid of the key.
Yeah.
So they go to the door. He opens the door. He's about to throw the key, and there's a traveler.
Yep.
A rambling man.
A motorist.
He's like, hey, my car, film please. And they're like, okay. Go into the...
Yeah, so here's what happens is they all kind of have to have a conference before they agree to let him use the phone. And this is a running bit. This happens a couple times. Yeah. And if you say, hey, may I use your phone? My car broke down. And the people in the house have to have a conference about it. Get out. Mm-hmm. Because something is going on. Mm-hmm. If they're not like, oh, yeah, sure, you can come use the phone immediately, and they have to have, like, a discussion about it, something is really dodgy is happening.
But, like, I don't know. Like, what if they're in the middle of a wake? Like, and they're just like, do we want the stranger, like, going into our house?
But wouldn't you just say, we're in the middle of a wake, sir, please come back?
Well, like, what if you don't want to be, like, it is raining outside, and it's really dreary, like.
I guess.
But.
All right.
Tyler over here giving people benefit of the doubt.
That's what I do.
It is true. That's why we're friends.
All right.
What's next?
So they do let him use the phone in the lounge.
The lounge.
Yes.
The lounge, yeah.
And this is when...
They lock him in.
Oh, yeah.
They do lock him in.
So many keys.
There's so many keys. There's so many keys, so many doors.
So many key changes. It's a musical.
And, also, after they let the motorist in, they lock the door, they also then throw the key out of the door as it originally
planned. So there's
planned.
no way for them to lock the door to let the motorist out?
No. Different key.
Different key.
The key to the cupboard.
The cabinet, not that. Okay.
Key to the cupboard.
Vessel with the pestle is the bird that is true. I understand.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is when they wonder if there's anybody else in the house.
Yes.
And so they want to go see.
They split up.
They split up into pairs.
By drawing lots.
They do. Yep.
So
lots and lots of matches.
And these long ass matches too.
Yeah, it's for lighting a stove.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
You learned something.
So you just kind of light a match and you just throw it in and hope for the best.
Hey, so,
it was fun. It was a fun time then.
Tyler, so
yes.
You should definitely consult with your roommates and also your Con Ed person about the way you've been treating your oven and stove.
Unless we have an electric boo. We don't.
Well, I got dunked on and then confused. So. Can you please continue?
Okay.
Oh, wait. Okay.
Oh,
so
all in favor of it, say aye.
Ooh.
Aye.
Now who's not in the podcast? Melissa.
Before this, when they're talking, or one of the conversations,
one of the many conversations in this film,
after it's revealed that Mrs. White probably killed both of her husbands. Probably.
Yes.
Not, we don't know for sure. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wadsworth makes the comment along the lines of, like, no man would be left alone with you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And he ends up being paired with her.
Which is beautiful.
Yes, yeah. They do. The most unlikely pairings are the ones that they go with. It's great. Cool. So then what else happens? Okay. And this
while they're split up.
Uh-huh.
A secret passage is found.
Yes.
Yes.
by Scarlett and
Professor Colonel Mustard.
and Mustard.
Yeah.
And then at some point, you see a hand,
A gloved hand.
going over to the
Cabinet. No?
power,
Oh, right.
the
Oh, yeah, the
circuit board,
yeah,
fuse box,
fuse box.
and shuts off all the lights.
Yep.
We then see Yvette. No, we see the motorist?
Yes, the motorist gets killed.
Yes, the motorist gets killed after saying that it's so weird that they ran into their former employer.
Yes.
Yes.
The hand, in addition to turning off the fuses, goes into the cupboard with the key.
Yes.
Gets the wrench.
Mm-hmm.
And then goes in. And then we see that gloved hand knock the motorist over the head with the wrench.
After which the secret passage is discovered.
Right, that goes into the lounge.
Right.
And then they discover the body. The now third body.
Yeah. And everyone runs back to find the dead body. I wrote, utter mayhem. Great.
Yes, because Scarlett and Mustard are stuck in the lounge freaking out over the body being discovered.
Right.
Everyone's on the outside trying to get into the lounge.
Because it is locked and they threw away the key. He threw away all his keys, didn't he? Because
just the one to the cupboard.
But he doesn't have the key to that door then.
Yeah, they can't find the key.
They can't
I
find
don't
the
remember.
Key? Okay, it's for whatever reason.
There's a lot of keys, guys.
But Yvette decides to run into the room. She comes back with gun in hand and shoots
the lock.
It shoots the lock. Colonel Mustard gets hit, like
grazed or whatever.
Grazed by the bullet, not fatally wounded.
Right. Or not even really badly wounded.
Yeah.
And then the doorbell rings and it's the police.
Wait, before that.
Sorry.
They confront Yvette over, like, how did you get the gun?
Oh, yeah.
She's like, what? Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
And then everyone's freaking out. And the colonel is freaking out. And he's like, I cannot take one more fright. And then the chandelier falls right behind him.
Oh, my God. It's so good. So good.
Very fun.
Yep. A policeman, not the police that have been called, but a singular policeman, rings on the door. Cool. Rings the doorbell and asks to use the phone. They have another little conference, and Wadsworth then locks him in the library where he is.
Because the policeman came because he saw Scarlett's car on the road, right, abandoned.
I think so.
I thought it was the motorist's car.
Oh, maybe.
Well, Scarlett and the motorist. Like, he saw a car on the road.
Yeah, there's a couple abandoned cars. There's just...
Which is, like, a little worrisome. And if I was the police officer, I'd be like, hey, so, are we good?
Yeah.
Then there's a very funny sequence of the police officer going, hey, I need to know what's going on here. And then they prop up the dead bodies. Weekend at Bernie's style.
Yeah.
Where they're making out. And it's kind of fun, but it's also kind of gross if you think about it too much.
Yeah.
And then he's like, there's nothing wrong or illegal going on here. These folks are just having a good time.
Right, yes. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Green, like, is freaking out because he's the one that has to show the police officer around.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thinking that all is to be revealed.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is where my notes started becoming a little weird because I was getting sleepy.
Okay, that's fun.
So I wrote at some point, unseen gloved hand.
So, how do you know about it?
It's implied that there is a gloved hand.
This has secretly been about O.J. Simpson.
Allegedly.
Oh,
no, it's not. It can't be, because the glove fit.
Oh.
Oh, boy.
So they had to acquit? Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. Is anything happened before the sequence with the voice asking Yvette?
Yes, because we then discover that the police officer saw someone that he recognizes.
Yeah,
that's right.
Everybody knows each other in this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But I do have pretty good notes for a voice asks Yvette if anyone has recognized her. And she says, yes, I must have been. and then assuming it's the person that is attached to the voice, then strangles her with the rope.
Yes, but a little bit more on that is that Yvette says, somewhat misquoted, yes, they know me. Yes, they know my voice, and they know, or no, not my voice. They know me, and they know every inch of my body.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm not sure if it was already revealed. No. Okay. So we're going to move on from that. They know every inch of my body, and that gave certain implications that she has had
relations.
Yes.
Certain intimate acts.
Where someone has seen her in an intimate act. We're not quite
sure.
But someone has seen her in all of her glory.
There you go. And then she's strangled with the rope.
Saying, it is you.
Yeah. And then I have just 2 more notes on this entire thing.
Okay.
So.
Pass the baton.
Baton, somebody. Yeah.
The lights are off. The body's on the ground. They find...
Because the cop...
Yeah.
Yvette... The lights are off somehow because the doorbell rings, the door opens, it's very dark on the inside still.
Oh, right.
And then
Oh, the singing. Oh, okay. This is in rapid succession right after. Okay, I forgot how rapidly this all happened.
It's like 3 things right in a row.
Yeah, so Yvette's strangled, and then the singing telegram arrives and is...
The person is shot.
Is shot, who is a woman. And then we see the policeman killed.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, now there are 5 bodies?
6.
6
bodies.
6 bodies.
Yep.
So 6 bodies, and then they're all freaking out about this.
Yeah.
And then...
Because, like, they find the bodies, like, one right after the other.
Yeah.
And when they find the singing telegram, they close the door.
Yeah, because they're like...
And they're like... Wadsworth says, this is really getting serious.
Which is very good.
And I think it's actually not too far after this that we start having...
The I know who did it.
Sequences.
Yeah, I think it's actually immediately after this.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So,
okay, great.
Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audible.com/adcpod and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audible.com/adcpod to get started today. Audible content includes an unmatched selection of audiobooks, original audio shows, news, comedy, and more from the leading audiobook publishers, broadcasters, and entertainers. My selection for a suggestion this week is Murder for Christmas, which will be our next novel that we discuss here on the program. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/adcpod. Again, that's audibletrial.com/adcpod for your free audiobook. I'm also going to talk to you today about Blue Apron. You can choose from a variety of chef-designed step-by-step recipes every week. Get fresh, seasonal ingredients delivered right to your door. Enjoy delicious, unforgettable meals cooked from scratch. Blue Apron's uniquely integrated model means better ingredients, better pricing, and a better planet for all of us. You can go to bit.ly/snapron30 to get $30 off your first order. Once again, that's bit.ly/snapron30 to get $30 off your first order. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Okay, we're back. So, there are 3 sequences about who could have done it.
And in the theater, when you went to see the movie, you got one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, only one of them?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, that's
and that
really
is how
fun.
I chose to view it this time round.
Okay, so...
Every other time that I have seen this, I have done the 3
All of
endings.
them, yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to have that kind of theatrical experience this time
Well,
around.
then let's start with you. What ending did you have, Tyler?
I had it where Miss Peacock was behind it all.
Okay, so Miss Peacock killed all of the victims to cover up her engagement of bribes from foreign powers.
Yes, she knew the cook.
Who used to be her cook.
Yes.
And I think
Because
that's true in all of the endings,
Yeah,
actually.
because she says, this is one of my favorite recipes, and Wadsworth goes, I know. It's very fun.
Yeah, because it's like
monkey
brains.
Is very popular in Cantonese cuisine. It is not that well known.
And then Mr. Green goes, "Is that what we had?"
Yeah.
Showing that he doesn't appreciate other cultures.
And then like other.
Or just doesn't want to eat monkey brains. I didn't know that was going to stop the podcast. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I broke and I had to reboot.
Calibrating what we're talking about. Okay. So
she knew other people in other ways.
Yeah.
And communism was just a red herring.
Yeah.
And Wadsworth reveals.
Wadsworth, before we get to the endings, walks us through kind of how Mr. Body got his information through the cook and Yvette, and like they all knew everybody's business.
Yeah, everyone was either an accomplice or a person being blackmailed.
Yes.
Correct.
So then, during this, he's also like taking us through like the entire events of the night just by himself.
Yeah.
Right, and like going to every single room.
It's very fun.
Back and forth. Lots of the running I
Great
talked about earlier. Yeah, it's really good.
And then the doorbell rings like right before that or right after that's completed, and it's a guy. It's like
a Jehovah's Witness
who is then like asking like about like their immortal souls, and Miss Peacock is like, "You gotta get out of here, or you're gonna be killed too."
Yeah.
Which gives very great implications in the ending I saw.
Right, because
like, I do not want to have to commit another murder is kind of what you get when you see my ending.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. I hadn't thought about it that way. Yes.
And Wadsworth then reveals that he's been an undercover spy for the Federal Bureau of Investigation because he receives a telephone call from J. Edgar Hoover in the third act, as weird, which is kind of...
It's super weird, yeah.
Yeah. And she then... he's spying on Peacock to get her arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ending number technically B.
B. That's ending B.
That's
and they
ending
also
number
sing.
B.
They also sing her out, and we get to hear Madeline Kahn's beautiful voice.
I was watching this with my girlfriend Christina, and she's like, "That is honestly the biggest mood I've ever seen." Holding people at gunpoint while they sing "For She's a Jolly Good Fellow." I was like, that's it. That's peak.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one. That's how it could have happened.
Yes.
Another ending.
But what about?
Another ending is Yvette murdered the cook and Mr. Body under the orders of Miss Scarlet, for whom she once worked as a call girl. Miss Scarlet then killed her along with the other murder victims. She wanted to keep her business of extortion safe and now plans to sell the other guests' secrets. She intends to shoot Wadsworth, who asserts that there are no more bullets in the gun. Very fun sequence with
yeah, so good.
Wadsworth then reveals himself to be an undercover FBI agent again, takes the gun from Miss Scarlet and apprehends her. The evangelist that we mentioned reveals to be the police chief, who arrives with the cops and agents to prove that the gun was empty. To prove that the gun was empty, Wadsworth fires it towards the ceiling. However, it still contains one bullet.
Yep.
And the gunshot brings down the hall chandelier right behind Colonel Mustard, narrowly missing him again.
Real quick before we go into the other final sequence.
Yes.
This reveal of Yvette as a call girl really struck me this viewing around because it's something I had remembered from previous viewings. But in the very first dinner scene, when Mrs. White is talking about her second and most late husband.
Yes.
Yeah.
When asked what he does, she says he lies on his back all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To which Miss Scarlet says, "Sounds like hard work to me." And right after that, we get a shot of Yvette.
Ooh.
Oh. This movie is really good, guys.
It's very good. A lot of callbacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's ending A.
Yeah, that's ending A. Then there's ending B, which you've already covered, which is Tyler's ending. And then ending number C.
But what really happened...
This is actually what happens canonically.
Yeah.
Each murder was committed by a different person. Professor Plum killed Mr. Body in the hall with a candlestick. Mrs. Peacock killed the cook in the kitchen with a knife. Colonel Mustard killed the motorist in the lounge with a wrench, and he picked the key from Wadsworth's pocket. Mrs. White killed a vet in the billiard room with the rope, and Miss Scarlet killed a cop in the library with a lead pipe. Mr. Green...
And because Mrs. White's husband had an affair with the vet.
Yes.
And Miss Scarlet knew the policeman because she had been bribing him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Green... I'll take that again. Mr. Green is therefore accused of killing the singing telegram girl, but Wadsworth reveals that he killed her in the hall with a revolver, and that he is, in fact, the real Mr. Body. The man Professor Plum killed was the butler, to which he says, "Ah, shucks," which is very fun.
Yeah.
With the witnesses to each of their secret activities dead and the evidence destroyed, Mr. Body now plans to continue to blackmail them. Mr. Green suddenly pulls out a revolver and kills Mr. Body. He reveals that he's been an undercover Federal Bureau of Investigation agent this whole time, who has been on the case of Mr. Body. He brings the chief/evangelist to arrest the others. And then he has the best line in cinema. He turns to him and goes, "I'm going to go have sex with my wife."
Yes, it's good, but it's also a little bit disappointing because it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, it's nice to have a homosexual character in something, and then, like, we've just taken away that.
Sure.
And I get, like, yes, it's he's working under an alias and is, trying to give himself a different backstory and whatnot, but at the same time, it's like, oh, well, it just kind of is like an undercut to...
Sure.
That character, I think.
Well, that might have been the right ending canonically, but it's more canonically because I thought it was a piece of...
Oh, okay. Because that is actually my favorite ending.
I do not care for that ending.
Okay.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. We get great bits out of it. We get the flames. So many iconic bits come from that ending, but that end bothered me as well.
Okay, fair enough. There is actually a fourth ending I found out about.
Surely your chest.
Well, apparently they filmed it and they didn't show it in any theaters because they were like, this is bad.
That's funny.
Wadsworth did everything and was just like kind of in it for the fun of it and like to commit the perfect crime, and by the way, they've all been poisoned also and they're all gonna die.
That does sound like a little bit of a cop-out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I do want to, I wish I could see that.
I think you can actually see it. I think it is possible to see it. I have not watched it,
hopefully links in the show notes.
Hopefully
I'll see if
it's probably on YouTube. Yes. Okay, guys. So I guess we gotta rate this thing. How are we doing it on 5 mustaches?
Yeah.
Are we?
I do like how...
Are we going to rate it out of murder weapons?
Yes,
out
of 7
okay.
murder weapons.
6.
Yes.
There's 6.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we were giving it a 6 out of 7.
Oh.
That's fine.
No, I don't want to rate it out of 7. I don't want to rate it out of 6. That's confusing.
Okay.
I need a multiple of 5, guys. It's been too long.
Speaking of 5 guys, also they're not a
Oh gosh, I'm hungry.
Okay, so let's go with 5 mustaches.
Sure.
Or 5
Fine.
golden rings. I don't care.
It is the holiday.
Yeah, so 5 golden rings.
Okay.
Melissa, how many golden rings?
Sonic implications.
Yeah, gotta go fast.
Yeah.
I want a chili dog now.
I know, I'm hungry.
Ben Schwartz is gonna play
so
him.
hungry.
He's fun. So.
That is fun.
Do you not like Ben Schwartz?
I do,
You
but
not like Benny Schwartz?
Jaleel White is still alive.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay.
Sorry.
Out of 5 golden rings, I will give this 4.5.
4.5 out of 5?
Yep.
Okay.
It is almost perfect, but not quite. And because it is just so much fun, I wish we had a little bit better resolution for the, condemnation of the homosexuality and stuff. And like, there's every once in a while, there's something that's a little too convenient or not quite right, but otherwise it's great. 4 out of 5. Love it.
Okay. I give it 4 and an adjustable ring.
Ooh.
Because it kind of depends, on my viewing and mood, kind of how I feel about it.
Okay.
Because some days, like, I'm in, like, a real space war where it's, like, almost a full fifth ring.
Sure.
But other days, like last, yeah, it just kind of depends for me. Like, sometimes, like, I'm there, or, like, I'm rocking with it all the way through. Sometimes I'm just like, this is dumb.
Sure, okay.
But I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay.
So for subtlety, for structure, for the casting.
Yes.
Yeah. Whether or not it's...
For the commitment to the bits.
Yeah.
But that last ring kind of just...
It's in flux.
Yeah.
An adjustable ring. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I hadn't actually thought about this. I think I'd give it a 4.5 because it is like at no point have I not laughed and enjoyed this film. I saw it for the first time on the way to see a Shakespeare play in the Twin Cities in high school. I was like, I came back, I saw the play, and my mom was like, how is the play? I was like, it was fine. But have you seen this movie called Clue? And she's like, yes, I've seen this movie called Clue. So that's kind of how I feel about it, and I really like it. It's just like, it would be nice to be updated on some of like how we view things. So maybe the remake is a good idea, because if the style and the pacing is similar or the same, it could be good if we can also just like slide in like, hey, a diverse cast and these things are fine.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
If we had Kate McKinnon as Mrs. White, I'd be super on board with that.
Tyler, your thought.
Hear me out.
Okay.
He's not known for his comedy.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he would be a lot of fun, and it would be a different side that we see from him. Idris Elba as Wadsworth.
I actually had
Yeah.
that thought earlier.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
I think he's great. He's great on The Office. He's very funny. He's so good. He's in The Office.
Yeah,
He's
after
in the
Michael leaves.
No, before.
Before Michael leaves?
Before Michael leaves. Yeah, because Michael Scott Paper Company, that arc happens
Oh,
with
okay.
Idris Elba.
Okay.
Yeah. He's so funny.
I think
in
I
it.
didn't know who he was when I first
Mhm.
watched that.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, he's very good. I actually had that same thought. Because he's so dry. He's so dry.
Yeah, it'd be very good.
Okay.
And should we don't do this normally,
Mhm.
but just a little couple of acknowledgements.
Sure.
We're on the Scavengers Network.
Oh, yeah.
Please go check out all of their other fun podcasts.
Mm-hmm. We also have a Patreon. If you want to go to patreon.com/Tristan J. Miller, you can support this podcast.
Yeah,
there.
Promise. It does support the podcast,
It
not
does.
just Tristan.
Not just me. I'm just the producer, and so I have the Patreon. It's
Yes.
Mhm.
Because he does do most of the work.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
some of it.
he does the editing work. He does
Yeah.
all of the editing
All the
work.
technical work.
Yeah.
Go ahead and plug your social media as well. They should follow you.
Oh, sure. Tristan J. Miller 1 on Twitter. Tristan J. Miller all the time, all across the board. My website's there. I do 2 other podcasts. Where can people find you guys? We normally don't do this, and it's kind of weird.
I know. At Melissa J. Meli. And my last name is spelled like the first 4 letters of my first name, Meli.
The J stands for
Josephine.
John, like me. We're
Nope.
the same person. Melissa and I are the same person.
Okay.
I said we're the same person.
Oh,
Sorry.
no.
This is bad. Tyler.
Well, if you want to zoom, and a boom, boom.
No. I do, Tyler. I do want to zoom, and boom.
You can follow me across all platforms at It's Tyler Riley.
Great.
And I now call this meeting of the, or the show has a Twitter, at ADC Pod. Also, please find us on Facebook. You should do that as well. I know.
We have a group.
We have a group. We have a page. We have a group. Join them both.
Give us a like and a click and a join.
Aha. And a follow. And we are now finally calling this meeting adjourned. Gavel sound.
Jacques.